And we are live for race number 7 at Gateway. The Mo Nuts 110 is ready as the drivers are finishing up practice right now. Alex has not joined the booth yet, but he will be here soon. But the guy I do have in the booth is the number 23 of Ryan Tiller. Tiller, how's it going, my friend?
It's good. How are you?
Doing all right. Well, this is your race that you decided to sponsor, which we always love to see. But the Mo Nuts 110, go ahead and tell us what Mo Nuts is, or why'd you end up picking this race to sponsor?
Mo Nuts is a company that my cousins Chance and Felicia Begley have started with their family, based out of Missouri, which is why it's called Mo Nuts. And just decided to sponsor it because it is my hometown racetrack, and wanted to show that obviously living in Missouri, we're gonna sponsor that race and go from there.
Well, that's awesome that you guys did sponsor it. I know a lot of people have connections to the tracks or live close, and that's why they're sponsoring the track. So it's cool to see that. But do you
hmm
have a special paint scheme on with it?
Yeah, I do. I do. It is the official real life sponsor of Mo Nuts, because everybody wants more Mo Nuts, and it very very cool. It has some little different nuts at the bottom of the race car to kind of make it flow better, or flow and make it look pretty good. So pretty proud of it. It's a good looking race car, for as clean a design as I could get. Wanted to add a little flair where I could. So
Well, it definitely does look good, and we are looking forward to seeing it tonight on the racetrack, and hopefully be talking to you here. We'll say maybe an hour and a bit in Victory Lane.
yeah, I definitely hope so. Definitely capitalize on the luck that I had last night, and try to get this podium for sure. At least make everybody on the car happy. So hopefully to look good tonight, and from drop of the green flag to the checkered. So
Yep, it is going to be a fun one, but practice is finishing up. Qualifying's coming your way, and we'll wish you luck for qualifying.
all right, thank you guys. Hope the stream goes well.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Ryan Ryan Tiller there sponsoring the race. The Mo Nuts 110 at Gateway. Alex has walked through the door for the booth.
Yeah,
How's it
finally,
going, my friend?
not too bad. Unfortunately, had a pretty big iRacing update today that did not fare well with my computer. But we're here, like you
Yeah,
said, for the Mo
obviously.
Nuts 110. Yeah, probably one of my favorite sponsor names of the of the season. No particular reason, just a funny name. But yeah, Gateway tonight, obviously. How are we feeling about it tonight, Gabe?
I'm looking forward to it. It's brand new, updated. All the drivers last week that were running the official races, completely different racetrack. IRacing rescanned it, and this morning was updated. So all these drivers, even though they had a ton of laps, we had Nathaniel Landwehr, as we see Stater, he is spinning, able to keep it off the wall though. But as we heard a few people in practice that have ran close to 1,000 laps this week, has not not going to help them because this track has been updated. So that is one thing that is going to be on the lookout, because we have that new updated track, new surface, everything to figure out. So we'll see how these drivers adapt to it tonight as everybody is heading out for qualifying.
Yeah, definitely very interesting. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's actually the first time that I've seen anything since the update. Looks quite awesome, if I'm be completely honest with you. So, yeah, definitely gonna probably throw a wrench into a lot of these guys' gears here with how different it is. I mean, it just looks different. It's almost a completely new racetrack for a lot of these guys. So, we'll see how a lot of these guys' experience come into play here, and if they can use that to their advantage and try to learn the track quick. Yeah, definitely going to be a advantage for some of these guys who are a little bit more experienced with the Xfinity car, and maybe can get to grips with the new track a little bit quicker.
Yeah, well, as we're riding on board with Ryan Tiller here, coming to complete his first lap of qualifying, Alex, talk us through his second lap as he comes off a 4.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on board with, like I said, the 23 Ryan Tiller. You're going to move into turn 1 here. pretty interesting corner here, one of the most interesting corners on the NASCAR schedule. He's going to try to ride the middle line here, try not to shove up too close to the wall in the exit there. Can get a little bit loose on exit if I remember correctly. Not too sure how it is now with the new update, but going to ride down the backstretch, hug that wall, arc the corner a little bit, try to ride the bottom here. This is a really big momentum corner. If you can carry as much speed as possible, it's going to benefit you a lot. And you don't, like I said, don't want to get loose off the exit of the corner here. Very easy to do that and overstep your marks. He's going to ride the wall and going to put him P4 on the board, about 2/10 behind provisional pole of Jonathan Schwartz.
Yeah, Schwartz goes top of the board there with a 33.738 first lap. Might be able to prove for the second, but we'll see with these drivers if they are able to figure it out, because this new track's worn in. Casey Brown, 0.3 off. Maybe warming up the tire for a second lap. Picking up the right front, which is impressive, but Matt Frady's out there on the racetrack now. That sounds good. I think they updated the sounds. That sounded really good. Kyle Ritchie goes second on the board.
To be honest with you, you might be right about that. I think I read something earlier in those dev notes that there were some sound updates to some of these cars. So, man, there'd be quite a lot to unpack today. I'm still trying to get used to what I'm looking at all the way here. Is he said about a minute and a half left in qualifying. Jonathan Schwartz still your pole man with a 33.738. Kyle Ritchie with a really close time right behind him in second. We see Daniel Landwehr getting a little bit loose off the corner there. I think we're going to see that a lot tonight. Like I said, very loose racetrack for this car. Xfinity car, not usually the most stable car on the planet, but we'll see how these guys handle it and if they can get used to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and with that, Nathaniel, all the laps, he said he ran over 900 laps this week for the official series, but with the update, really had no clue what to do. We were testing, seeing if shifting was better, and we'll see what he learned in practice. First lap, kind of a throwaway as he saw him run the outside line. Puts him still P7 on the board. If he's not able to pick up a 10th and a bit in 3 and 4 this time, if he runs the bottom, I think he knew he didn't have a good lap the first lap, so he decided to bail out of it. He's going to run down into 3 with the opportunity to prove big. He does. See how he's not fully on that bottom, about half a lane up. Then as we get to the corner exit, he's back low. He's really willing it here as he comes across the start-finish line. That is going to put him P1 on the board by a 10th. Nathaniel Landwehr. Seen it multiple times this season, and he's back on the pole as qualifying starts to end. So what a lap for Nathaniel there.
Yeah, I was going to say, not a bad lap. We saw Schwartz there keep that pole position for quite a while. It seemed like nobody could chase that little bit of extra speed, but Nathaniel Lane, we're not super surprised to see this happen. I mean, one of the fastest guys in the league in general over the last couple of years. Ooh, we're going to do a run throughout the field. All right, like I said, pole man Nathaniel Landwehr with a 33.622 to take over the pole spot of Jonathan Schwartz. Kyle Ritchie setting himself a great time, almost challenging for the pole, down in third with Jonathan Mazzella down in fourth place. Down in P5 and P6 for row 3, Matt Frady and league owner Randy Arms unfortunately lost his championship lead last week to Kyle Ritchie. Kevin Ritchie down in P7 right next to Michael Davis. Rounding out the top 10 is going to be Ryan Tiller, tonight's race sponsor for the Mo Nuts 110, with Landon Quisenberry down in P10. Outside of the top 10, Michael Cochrane, and a new name in the series, if I remember correctly, Christian Schrader down in P12 there. Decent debut qualifying run for him. Casey Brown in the gorgeous John Deere car. Still one of my favorites down in 13th. Right next to another new name, I believe, of Greg Elliott down in 14th. Jeremy Flanagan down in 15th with Jake Pittengorio down in 16th. Round out row 8. Our fan favorite Mikey Adams going to take the 17th spot next to Wyatt Garrett. Rare appearance for him as they're going to round out the last 2 qualifying
Dynamic
spots.
duo right there.
Lilith Peters, unfortunately, not having herself a good qualifying. I actually watched her spin on her first lap with Randy Sample down in 20th. Jeff Barnes, another new name in the series, did not qualify with Dylan Falovich down in 22nd. Another not qualifier in the last of the field. Brandon Sermashee with no qualifying time, going to start 23 and last in the field.
Yeah, and I don't know why this is not going to... I have it muted, but it's not going away. So I'm just going to disable the chat right quick before we go. My apologies, everybody. If I can find where it's at, actually. Well, let's work. Let's hope that works, because I don't know. But all right.
Oh, I will say this. I did find something that I'm already not a massive fan of on this UI. Oh, that's really unfortunate.
It's definitely going to be something to get used to. So for us,
Yeah.
this race might be a little bit different with the calls from Alex
Yeah.
and me and everything. I have most of the stuff, so we're going to apologize now for it, because everything might be a little bit different. But yeah, it's going to be.
Unfortunately, that results tab, you can't actually move. So when I like to use the results tab, yep, it's
I saw
blocking.
that early in practice,
It's
and that's
blocking
not
half
good.
the screen, but that's all right. We'll figure it out here. We're going to round 3 and 4 for the Mo Nuts 110.
Yep, the pace car lights are out. We got 110 laps tonight for race number 7 at Gateway. The Mo Nets 110. It's going to be Nathaniel Landwehr and Jonathan Swartz to lead them to the green. In the restart zone, they fire and we're green for race number 7 at Gateway. Big drive into the corner for Nathaniel, able to clear pretty quickly. Top 3 get sorted out. Then it's the battle for P4 between Matt Frady and Jonathan Mazzella, with Randy Arms lurking just behind them.
Pretty clean start for everybody so far. See Nathaniel Landwehr getting himself it was actually a pretty even start between the front row there. As you saw Kyle Ritchie, he did try to make a move, unfortunately not working, as everybody else behind just trying to dot their I's and cross their T's, try not to make any big mistakes early on in the race here. Unfortunately, like I said, tricky track here, especially with the update. Don't want to make any crucial mistakes early. And you definitely want to try to make the stage. Stage break will be between lap 25 and 35, as it has been for a lot of these races. So, yeah, we'll see who can manage to survive.
Yeah, and with that being said, we heard in practice a lot of tire wear tonight. So that's one thing that these drivers are going to have to be on the lookout for, is the tire wear. With these drivers having the option to shift down into 1 and 2, a lot of these drivers could put her down in 3rd gear and try to get that good exit, but that'll also burn up the tires, as we saw possibly from Kevin Ritchie there. Got a little bit sideways, but still had a little bit of a pull. So how much are tires going to come into play? That's what all these drivers are going to have to learn in this first stage.
Yeah, with it being such a pretty big momentum track, like I said earlier in qualifying, you're going to scrub a lot of speed. Especially later in the runs, and like you said, Cabe, shifting is going to be a really viable option for a lot of these guys, especially into 1 and 2, just to help you slow the car down a little bit and keep the apex speed and the momentum up, because you don't want to scrub off too much, as it'll scrub off a lot of your speed towards the later runs. And like I said, it's going to be interesting how some of these guys deal with the tire wear. As we said, update's going to throw some people off, so. Yeah, we'll see how it affects a lot of these guys in the long run, and if we do actually see some shifting in the later runs, as we're at the moment watching Lilith Peters down in 23rd, unfortunately already a lap down. Not sure if she didn't take the start, or if just there was a really early mistake there. Unfortunately, see her go a lap down so early, but will be the lucky dog as of now if we do get an early caution.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried in her situation with it being this early in the race. You're just kind of trying to let all the other drivers that are on the lead lap and these leaders race it out. But as you're in that spot, especially for the stage, I wouldn't be too worried in her situation, as we just saw Randy Arms go by Matt Frady. So Arms up to 4th, Matt back to 5th. So pretty racy track that we've seen so far tonight, as the next battle is between still Kevin Ritchie and Michael Cocaine. Rain. All right.
Alrighty, like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, the stage will be between lap 25 and 35. We'll see how some of these guys handle it with tires, like you mentioned before. Going to be a very important topic for some of these guys. And speaking of the stage, I did go back and see why Lilith Peters did pit. She actually pit. So that's why she is a lap down at the moment. Not sure why. The only thing I can assume is maybe it was a bit of a top off for some extra fuel to make it to the stage. I'd be surprised to see her pit that early and maybe not wait a couple of laps because it was only on lap 3 or lap 2, excuse me. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on her as we go through the stage. Already 6 or 7 laps into the race. As Nathaniel Landwehr, still your leader, pulling himself a pretty decent gap over the rest of the field as of now. Almost a second and a half now between him and Jonathan Schwartz. But between the top 4 cars underneath the blanket right there fighting for position as Kyle Ritchie's going to make a move underneath the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz. Not going to get himself too big of a run down the backstretch, but he will have the advantage going into the corner as he's going to make the move. Kyle Ritchie, move him into second place.
Yeah, move Kyle into second place, and then we see Lilith Peters makes the dive underneath Schwartz. That's going to move Schwartz back a good amount of spots. So Peters trying to gain her lap back all by herself, which she's able to do that. She's going to show a lot of speed as Schwartz is starting to drop back now. Is Kyle Ritchie way deep into the corner. Not sure what happened there. Was way up the racetrack. What happened there?
Yeah, it looks like just a little bit of a... Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a lock up there. Almost, yeah, just lost it a little bit going to the middle of the corner there. Yeah, very high braking corner on the entrance to 1. So another thing to look out for in terms of mistakes. If these guys can see if they can actually manage the brakes. You don't want to give it a little bit too much pressure while you're turning in because you'll see that exactly what happened to Kyle Ritchie there. You'll get a little bit loose. You'll lock the rear of the car up and you'll fly yourself way off the track and don't want that happening as he's unfortunately going to get passed by the 8 of Randy Arms.
Yeah, already a 2-second gap with everybody in front at least 2nd to 5th battling. That's left Nathaniel with a 2.5-second lead now. And he's kind of been able to set sail, really hasn't looked back. And yeah, I mean, he's gone at the moment, but as we get later in the race, these drivers are still learning. And he's got a lot of laps, as we heard just a bit ago, as I mentioned. So a lot of laps. And we'll see if all these other drivers are able to combat that and gain that experience for the first half of the race and then apply what they learned in that second half.
Yeah, definitely going to be an advantage for Nathaniel Lane. We were running those extra laps, obviously quite different to what he probably is used to running in, but it'll still help a little bit. You got the fundamentals down of the track and how to drive it, so I'm sure he's probably definitely getting used to it pretty quick, and he might be able to use it to his advantage later on in the race with how big of a gap he has. He might not have to push as hard and could save himself some tires later on in the run as we tick towards the stage window.
Yeah, and right now we're watching this battle between 2nd to 6th, and then there's a little bit of gap. It's Tiller, Davis, and Cochran. So everybody's kind of spread out a little bit, but everybody's under pressure from somebody. The only person that's really not is Mazzella there in 6th with about a 2.5-second gap to Tiller. But even then, we saw the mistake from Kyle and how easy it is to make a mistake. If he makes a mistake, he's going to fall back into the reach of Tiller. So at any moment, as difficult as this track is to drive, it looks to be very racy here for the moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's super surprising for Gateway, but it's not usually the most racy track on the schedule. Sometimes it can put up a nice, decent show, but as of right now, some good battles going on.
Yeah,
as we go throughout the field.
Yeah, I mean, we're watching a lot of different lanes too, which could just be some drivers experimenting or a few mistakes, but right now, it doesn't seem like everybody's locked to one lane. You see Kevin up the racetrack just a little bit. A lot of them are doing that line. We're right on board with Strader. He was kind of on that bottom more, so a lot of different lines here, at least through 1 and 2, but drivers trying a lot of different lines here.
Yeah, I mean, like you said before, it seems like the middle, especially in 1 and 2, is the more optimal line, but people opting to try the bottom lane. Not a bad option if you can make it work, especially earlier in a run, maybe. It might benefit you a little bit. Definitely in 3 and 4, though, I think that bottom line and that holding that curb is going to be your optimal line there. So 1 and 2 is probably where we're going to see most of the variation as we go throughout the run.
Yeah, and we see one guy that I do want to, something I want to talk about, we're talking about, I want to put it up a challenge between two drivers. Mikey Adams, who is running in 17th, then Wyatt Garrett, who's a little bit further off the pace in 22nd. But I want to put these two drivers head-to-head here in a few weeks and maybe do a mini playoffs between them two. If everybody knows the league, they're two of the fan favorites, funniest guys in there, and they always like to see who can beat each other and like to just, as long as they finish ahead of the other, they could care less on where they finish. So I might consider doing a fun challenge between them. We'll see as the playoffs start if that is what we end up doing. But little shout out to Mikey and Wyatt there, as Mikey's in P17, so not too bad. Back up to the front of the field though. It's still Randy Arms, followed by Lilith Peters, a lap down, but slowly working her way back into it as Kyle drives into the corner way deep. He's running like not really a diamond line, but he's not, you know, I don't know. He's driving a really different and unique line compared to everybody else here.
Yeah, it's not super surprising. I've noticed that, obviously, being good friends with Kyle and racing him for quite a while now, that he does like to experiment. He's usually one of the guys who will try a different line pretty early on just to see if it works. I noticed the same with Dylan Falovich, who right now unfortunately running in the 19th position, up a couple spots from where he started. But same thing with him. They'll like to try a different line early to see what works. And, you know, sometimes it really does work because you find something that somebody else might not know, or it'll take them a little longer to find. So, yeah, definitely in his benefit to try that different line there. That, or maybe he's just stuck in Darlington mode. Obviously, last week's winner at Darlington. So maybe he's just taking the Darlington technique of the diamond and bringing it to Gateway.
Yeah, but as we ride on board with Mazzella, see Matt way up the racetrack, but he gets that good run on corner exit. So 3 and 4 at least at the moment, being pretty racy. And it seems like a hard track to pass, but a very racy racetrack, which is a good tendency to have at a new surface like Gateway here. As we're watching Swart try to set up the pass on Matt, we'll see if he can do that same thing that he did. Looks like he's gonna look to the inside. It's gonna be to the inside. Will he get the run off though? Matt's gonna be a little bit tight, have to lift. Now they're gonna be dead even down the front straightaway. Now Swartz goes in there, a little bit of a slide job, able to clear. Now Matt's gonna try to cross over. Back underneath him now.
Yeah, like I said before, sorry,
Little
Matt Frady there was gonna get it to the back of Schwartz there, kept his wits about him, thankfully. But like I was saying before, 1 and 2 is kind of where you can change up your line a little bit more, and we saw it there. They were able to go to change where they were, position their cars a little differently, and honestly, it kind of looks like the same thing starting to form up in 3 and 4. We saw those two get a little side by side, and they were pretty even off the corner, despite the fact they were on different lines. So definitely something to keep in mind as we go on to see if some people will try to maybe run a little bit farther towards the middle in 3 and 4 rather than just hugging that bottom line.
Yeah, one thing that we're coming up to that stage range, so 25 to 35, like you mentioned earlier there, Alex. Randy is 3 seconds back from Nathaniel, but last lap, I noticed Randy trying something a little bit different than a lot of these drivers. We'll see if he does it again or if that was just maybe a mistake. He went off into one, and I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a lot more than I thought. He was close to the wall, so I was wondering if he was running a way high line or trying something different, but it looked like that was a lane that he tried for a moment there. But still, Lilith Peters, first one a lap down. Actually, I mean, she's showing great speed, which we've seen all season long. She's in that speed range of top 5, which pretty much this top 6 with obviously Lilith Peters has been the battle all season. Like those top 7 drivers have been top 7 and has made it such a great race. And we're seeing it once again as Matt's going to be sideways, blowing smoke off the rear tires. So Lilith is showing speed, and she's looking for that stage as soon as possible just to make sure another driver doesn't go a lap down. But Lilith Peters is in contention with the speed, so we'll see later on if she does get back on the lead lap how much speed is in that number 1 car.
Yeah, like you said before, Cade, a lot of these guys up at the top 6 right now they're the guys fighting for the championship lead right now. Kyle Ritchie leading the championship right now. He took it from Randy Arms last weekend after his Darlington win. Randy Arms down in second, only 2 points back from the lead. Jonathan Mazzella, 24 points back from the lead, but still in the contention. We see him up there down in 6, so having himself a good night. Like you mentioned before, Lilith Peters in the running to be within the top 3, maybe even a chance to take the lead before we get to the playoffs. And Nathaniel Anwer, right now, your leader, had himself a pretty good comeback. Started pretty low in the standings after, I believe, something with Daytona. Was not here for that, unfortunately, but yeah, starting to make his way back up. So those top 5 in the championship standings fighting, as I believe we are on the second to last round before we start the playoffs. If I give myself a check here, yeah, we got Bristol next week, and then we get ourselves an off week, and off we are to the playoffs. So big race for a lot of these guys who are still trying to contend for the regular season championship.
Yeah, Nathaniel's made his way up to 5th in the points, but still behind Lilith, Mazzella, Randy, and Kyle, like you just mentioned. But with only 1 race left, which unfortunately I will have to miss because it is my birthday next Tuesday, and we're going to go to dinner, so I will end up missing that. But maybe, Alex, you can broadcast it. We'll figure something out, possibly.
I'll figure something out.
Well, if
we
not,
got to have
I
a
will
nice
start
cutoff race before the playoffs.
Yeah, if not, I will start it, and I will show it because Bristol's one of my favorite racetracks. Obviously, it's a short track, so a track that I wish I was not going to miss, but it is my birthday, so unfortunately, I'm going to have to miss it. But, yeah, cutoff next week. That one's going to be a good one with Bristol, but we're closing in on the stage with it being random. We got a lot of battles going on inside just for that top 5 spot. Here's Christian Strader underneath Sample and Quisenberry. They're all racing here to be inside, chase down at least Casey Brown in that number 8 for the top 10 spot in the stage. Strader, his first race with us. 3,700 iRating. Not too bad. Pretty, actually a lot of talent that we're seeing in Speedzone, which I seem to mention every week. But these drivers are all, I mean, the SOF of these lobbies have been close to 3K, which is a top split official race a lot of the time. So these drivers definitely put on a show. Is Quisenberry sideways? That was a big slide there. That's going to open up the door for Strader again. Any moment now, we're expecting to see the yellow. Waiting for it to come out. As Strader's trying that outside line that we kind of see from Matt as Casey Brown gets sideways on corner exit. So we're starting to see the rear tire, Alex. The rear tires are starting to go away for a lot of these drivers as it's getting loose on corner exit.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it wasn't super surprising. One of these tracks where the rears will burn up quite quickly. You know, obviously, it's when you're on the gas a little bit too much off the corner exit, but also just because of the fact that you're trying to carry speed throughout the corner, and you're constantly on the throttle here. There's very rare moments when you're fully off, bar the entrance of 1 and 3. But other than that, you're just trying to keep the momentum, and those rears they're going to start cooking at some point or another. So you can see here as we watch on board with the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz trying to look on the inside of Kyle Ritchie as it looks like he started to experiment with that middle line there in 3 and 4. Like I said, not super surprising to see him go and experiment, but we've seen it out of a couple of drivers tonight that they are going to start exploring. Just see here, right up in the middle, almost going up into the wall there. So maybe your eyes weren't deceiving you before, Cabe, of seeing some of these guys run a little closer to the wall in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and Randy, since he's in front, he's able to, everybody sees what he's doing. So everybody's learning off of Randy right now. So they know that top line has kind of worked as everybody's kind of migrated up there in turn 1 as Schwartz is finally to the inside of Kyle, just isn't able to get the run off. We saw him get loose as we switched back to this battle. We saw that the rear tires are starting to slowly go and not have the drive off. Schwartz is trying to drive underneath. Kyle got a little tight in the center there. Kyle's driving that thing up on the tire side, but Schwartz is the best position he's been all night. Can he throw the slide job in 3? We see Kyle up the track a lot. Schwartz is going to drive it into the corner. He's going to slowly wash up just a little, maybe just run that bottom. No, not even a slide job. Didn't even think twice about it. So move Schwartz into the 3rd spot. Kyle, does he have a run to go back at him, though?
And we'll see it here. It's been probably one of the best places to make a move into 1 and 2 if you can get a decent run into the corner. at the moment. Not really much of a gap being closed here. Almost Kyle Rich able to close maybe just a little bit there, but pretty similar line run by those two guys there. As we move back to the 24, Randy Sample and the 75, Landon Quisenberry getting a little racy here between some of these cars back down in the right outside the top 10. Here's Casey Brown going to have to fight for his life at lap 32. The caution can come out at any moment. Surprising to see it come out this late in a stage as we just hit lap 33. Yeah, definitely going to be out here within the next 2 laps. So we'll see if Casey Brown can hold off for just a couple more laps to get himself some stage point.
Yeah, this should be the white flag, or coming to the white flag for the stage for Nathaniel, as he's 4-second gap. But the battle for the last stage spot is between Casey Brown and Strader. I guess, well, not everybody's a rookie, but a lot of the field is a rookie technically. But Strader, with his first race with us, is definitely a rookie. So he's trying to get stage points on debut as they're coming through the final time. The white flag for the stage, or it should be. Nathaniel has opened up a 4-second gap. So Nathaniel has learned a lot in this first stage, knows he's definitely at least a 10th or 2 quicker than a lot of the field most laps, as we're seeing him kind of run a different line, a little bit up the racetrack, then drive back down it as he comes off of turn number 4. Nathaniel's going to get the stage win. If the yellow comes out, I could be wrong. Maybe there was a mess up with the... Maybe it's just when 10th crosses our finish line, which is a possibility, as Casey's able to hold him off. There's still no stage. So, Randy, we're waiting for it. Was that Casey Brown getting sideways on entry? It was. Contact between Sample and the caution waves at the stage. That's going to be big for points. And how we score the stage. Casey Brown sideways on corner entry at the stage we thought was going to come out then. Should have been automatic, but drove into the corner, maybe a little bit deep. Got sideways and spun her around and tried to keep it up the racetrack. Randy was already on that top side. Nowhere for him to go, and they make contact, but shouldn't be too hurt from everybody.
Yeah, these cars are a tank, so probably a decent amount of damage on that left front there, but hopefully shouldn't take them fully out of contention and hopefully finish top 10. Yeah, like I said, Cade, unfortunately nowhere to go for Randy's Sample there. It almost kind of looked like what happened to Kyle Ritchie earlier. We saw him make that mistake early on in the run, just get a little bit loose. It almost just looked like the more worn out tires didn't really help him very much there. So yeah, unfortunate way to end off the stage for Casey Brown. We'll see how the points lay out with the stage and whatnot. Might still be scored in 10th as the whole field's going to come down pit lane. Definitely a sight to see for some of these guys who are absolutely going to want to get off these old tires.
Yeah, 35 laps on these tires, so these drivers got a long run in. Now we'll see how different they race with this second half of the race. Or, well, I guess last third of the race, I guess so. But we see Randy Arms pulling into the pits, and everybody's pulling into the pit. Oh, that's a little scary and satisfying at the same time. We'll see who wins the race off pit road, as Lilith Peters will get the lucky dog and the wave around. So, well, one of them, whatever. It should be the lucky dog, but she's going to be able to pit as well. So, going to be at the tail of the field. We'll be on the lookout for her. P4 in the points. Going to have a fun time driving back through the field. It's going to be Nathaniel, Swartz, Arms, Kyle, Mazzella, Frady, Tiller, Davis, Strader, Elliott, Quisenberry, Flanagan, Schimmerhorn, Schimmershing. Sorry, Brandon. Jake, then Cochran, Barnes, Adams, and the second of the Ritchie brothers, Kevin Ritchie, rolling off of pit road now. So, all right.
I will say this, I'm riding on board with Nathaniel Landwehr right now. Something to take into account. We know these guys can go at least 35 laps on fuel. They were able to make it. Tires held up kind of all right. It's going to be a little tricky towards the end of it. But another thing to take into consideration is maybe these guys will try to make a one-stop work. We're going to have 73 to go. It's going to be a little bit of a stretch. Oh, is there come to the...
I don't know if we're coming to it now or next time, but it should be. Yeah, it should be this time. So we'll see. So Swartz picks the outside. Kyle goes to the inside. What happened to Nathaniel?
Might have, unfortunately, some
Disconnected.
unfortunate computer issues. I'll let you know if he drops out of the race, unfortunately, but that's going to be a really big blow if we see his name
We talked about it.
the remove list.
Yeah, he was talking about it in a pre-race interview. All week, he's lost over, I think, 500 iRating or close to it, 300 something iRating from disconnects. So that 4-second gap that he had, close to a guaranteed win, is now gone. Now the battle that was for second, that there was 5 drivers going for, just opened up. That is big for the points as well. Nathaniel should be okay, but Nathaniel's 5th in the points. Back to 10th is only 8 points. So that could be big as we're coming back for the restart for the Mo Nuts 110, race number 7 at Gateway. It's going to be Swartz and Kyle to lead them back to the green. Swartz fires back. Underway. Race and playoff implications and drama to start the second bit of this race. Swartz to lead. Now it's going to be in the battle between Frady and Richie. We've seen these two go at it a lot during this season and all the last season. Matt's going to drive around the outside 9. Here comes Michael Davis around the outside of Mazzella. A lot of drivers up here as we got one sideways, but able to save it on corner exit there. So Elliott making the move on Mazzella. Great job for him making his way through it. Quisenberries, we got a caution. Who's around? Mikey Adams is around, as well as Casey Brown. Caution waves early after we got back running. Let's go back and take a look at it. Oh, looked like it happened further up front. It was for Mikey. No, Mikey. Let's see what happened here. If we can find Mikey, because this stupid thing doesn't work right. All right, Alex, take us through what happened here.
All right, well, from my first initial look at it, it kind of looks like Mikey Adams made the same mistake that Casey Brown made on the caution before that, and Casey Brown, unfortunately, just trying to avoid it and gets a little loose, and I don't think the guy behind him is expecting him to slow down that much, and he just takes him out with him. Yeah, very unfortunate for Casey Brown, not having the luck. We've seen it a lot this season, just unfortunate luck for him. I believe that was the 32 of Barnes who was involved with Casey Brown, not too sure.
It was.
Yeah, so the 32 of Barnes involved in taking out Casey Brown. Going to be some decent damage for him. He got hit pretty hard there in the right, might have been right or left rear, one of the rears. Then Mikey Adams, I think, might have gotten away with that.
Yeah.
It almost looked like it was just
I think
little spin.
everybody
Pretty much
did.
the same thing as Casey Brown before, with just a little spin and had the extra hit. But I think he was able to at least keep it out the wall. As of now, a couple guys coming down pit road, like I said before. Gonna be really interesting to see what these guys do on fuel. I can hear a little bit of fuel saving between for Jonathan Schwartz here, and I believe Matt Frady as well. I can hear some, so definitely sounds like they're just gonna do maybe a one stop for the rest of this race. We are at 69 to go, so splitting the race is very possible at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, as we get a little bit longer, and if we get another yellow, that'll change up the strategy. But with this yellow, it's going to slow up the pace. Everybody's going to reset. They just took the green on new tires, so they have 1 or 2-ish lap old tires now. But they know how the restart's going to work. They know what lane just rolled. Matt Frady took over second around the outside from Kyle Ritchie. Will he be able to do it again on Swartz? Or will Swartz pick that top lane, force Matt to go to the bottom? Or will Matt try to pick, well, technically it'd be 4th, but pick behind Swartz on that top lane to fire behind the leader? We'll see as the pace car lights are going to go out and the choose cone is coming up. Or the choose zone, I guess. It's not really a cone. It's apron or stay on the racetrack. So we'll see as we come back to it. But we know cautions breed cautions, and that's what we're seeing here. At least one for now, but I think these drivers learned a little bit there as we're coming back to the choose.
Yeah, they're definitely going to try to take it just a little bit easier here, especially guys towards the back of the field. Don't want to be the guy to get out early and run up into the outside wall in 1 and 2. So maybe a little bit less of an aggressive restart for some of these guys, but up towards the front, that definitely won't be changing. I mean, we saw some decent battles going on there as field goes through the choose zone, and we're going to establish our inside and outside lanes. Still going to be Jonathan Schwartz with the lead, with Matt Frady now on his inside for this restart, coming to 67 to go.
And then Greg Elliott, another driver who's moved up the field, mostly from these chews, avoiding the wrecks and staying clean. He's up to well, it'd be 5 technically, but it's in 3rd in line. We'll see, but as they come off a 2, we'll give you a definite answer. But it's going to be Frady on the inside now. Can he get a better restart than what Kyle did? Kyle picked behind Schwartz, so we'll see. Is it better to be behind the leader or next to him as we're coming back to the restart? Schwartz and Frady. Schwartz fires, and we're back green. That had a little bit better of a restart. I think Tiller missed a shift, and it kind of stacked up the field just a little bit back in the field. Now Matt is closer to Schwartz than what we've seen. Matt struggled on that long run, fell back to 6th. But on the short runs, he seems to have the speed in that 40 machine. Same thing with Davis and Elliott back here. Michael Davis and Greg Elliott having good runs for them. And here comes Strader behind Mazzella.
Yeah, I was gonna say a couple new names in the league tonight, so nice to see them running up towards the top 10. Like you said, Greg Elliott making his way up into the top 5. Christian Strader up into 7th from his 12th starting position. And shout out, I'm being honest, I'm shout out Michael Davis here. He's had himself some sneaky speed the last couple of weeks. It's kind of out of nowhere sometimes. He'll sneak up there into the top 5. He's gonna get turned! I jinxed him!
Into the inside wall. Can everybody avoid? He's perfectly straight, so at least everybody can slide by. But contact between Greg Elliott and Michael Davis. That one we're gonna say is on Alex. He caused that one.
Oh, I did it that time. I need to shut my mouth for the rest of the race. I can't even mention drivers' names anymore. Oh, I just pulled a Cabe.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate. Just as I'm saying, he's had some sneaky speed, got himself a buttload of damage there, and oh man, let's not tell him I did that, because he's gonna hold that against me.
Let's go back and take a look at her here. We saw it. I was trying to get a good camera angle on it as we were riding on board with him as it happened. Michael Davis kind of in that middle lane where there's a hole open, but I don't know. It's a racing deal. There's a car length underneath, but it's an aggressive move. And there's just slight contact as they go around. And he just isn't able to lock her down in time. A little bit of contact. Shouldn't be too bad, though. That car should be okay, as the whole field is able to avoid. So drivers coming to pit road now. We'll see who's it's going to be. It's going to be Tiller, Lilith Peters. And speaking of Lilith, was able to move up into, I think it was like 7th or 8th there. Just about. Maybe 10. I wasn't fully for sure, but was able to work her way up in way further than where she was. So on pit road, just took tires. We'll see. But she does have an extra set of tires, or with my math, she should have an extra set of tires because she didn't pit that first one. Or maybe she does because of the lucky dog. I'm not fully sure. My brain's telling me there's a possibility, but I'm not fully sure. Where is Nathaniel? Is back out on the racetrack. 3 laps down. So it's 64 laps, Alex. What do you think the chances are for Nathaniel to get back up on the lead lap and then back up to the front of the field?
He's got himself a decent chance. You just got to hope that nobody else goes a lap down. I mean, we saw it before. I noticed Dylan Falovich was a lap down earlier, so He was able to get his lap back, so at this point, he needs at least 3 cautions to get back into contention here, and he just gotta hope he's not involved in any of them, or else he won't get his lap back there. Like I said, scored 3 laps down at the moment, coming down pit road. More than likely, maybe just top off on some fuel, just to have a little bit extra, as the field will take the choose zone. We'll find out who goes where, and yeah, like I said before, decent chance, so long as we get some more cautions. But knowing me, oh, it was close, little almost a juke there for Matt Frady as he took the bottom line there. Still going to be Schwartz and Frady your front row as we go to 62 to go in the Monuts 110.
So same front row, same choice with the choose. We'll see how that changes something up. If Matt's able to get a better restart than he did that last time and stay side by side with Schwartz. Pace car lights are out. 62 laps to go green. Drivers are going to have to pit if we're able to go green all the way. Possibility for green flag pit stops as we come back to the restart. Schwartz fires and we're back green. Looked like an even better restart there for Schwartz. Matt Frady still clear on Kyle Ritchie, but not able to challenge Schwartz as he's still got the run though. He's got turn 1 down. It just, if he could get the better restarts, he'd have a big opportunity at him. As he goes down into 3 and 4. There is Jeremy Flanagan there, trying that outside line. I was wondering who's going to be the first car to try that outside line with these restarts. Everybody being stacked up as Peters is trying to go 3 down the front straightaway and gain some spots. She's going to drive her off in there, and she's going to get her to stick. Able to pass Quisenberry. Now going to roll the inside of Cochran. Now looks underneath her teammate in Flanagan.
Yeah, definitely got to look out for her. We saw her earlier in the first opening laps of the race that she did go a lap down due to hitting early, but we saw she was able to hold up her speed with a lot of front runners, so she can get back up there. Look out for her to make some moves and try to contest for the lead here, as right now pretty much everybody almost single filed out. We got some moves towards the back end of a really mixed up top 10 throughout the field. Jonathan Schwartz feeling a little bit of pressure from the 40 as we ride on board with Jonathan Mazzella, facing some pressure from the 8 of Randy Arms, trying to make up as many points as he can on championship leader Kyle Ritchie. Gonna have the inside line, try to keep his momentum, but he's gonna get a little bit loose on the exit of the corner, and he's gonna give Mazzella the advantage going into 1.
Yeah, we're seeing that top line be the preferred line, at least racing wise, but it seems like the middle running alone is better. So kind of that middle, the drive back down the hill, as we got a battle for the lead between Matt Frady and Schwartz, and that allowed Kyle Ritchie to have a good run down the back straightaway. Is he going to look underneath Matt, or is he going to let Matt do the battle for him and hope that Frady opens up the hole? That looks like what it is, but as we mentioned before, or as Kyle did, or as Alex did, as Kyle gets loose, the battle for the regular season point championship is within 2 points. Kyle Ritchie, 255, Randy Arms, 253. So only 2 points between the top 2. Right now, this would be a good points day for Kyle and a little bit of a buffer on Randy if it were to finish right now. But we're still halfway through the race. We're still closing in on halfway of the race. So a lot can still happen, if we've seen early in this one. Lilith was a lap down, able to work herself into the top 10. Now we got a battle between Kyle Ritchie and Mazzella, or Kevin Ritchie and Mazzella. A little bit of a slide job, maybe. Able to move up. Kind of force Mazzella to go up the racetrack. It's getting racy here, Alex.
Yeah, I was just about to mention, and we see the sun starting to go down. You see a lot of the orange tones of that sunset starting to set in. This is a track with lights. It's been used, I believe, in the truck series. It's been at night I do not believe Cup has ever raced here at night. I know IndyCar races here. They go into the night, so it's going to be interesting to see how the Xfinity cars react going into the night here. Track's going to start cooling down. We'll maybe be able to see some more moves happen as we see it here. A really bunched up, almost honestly a pretty bunched up top 15 if you want to call it that way. So a lot of racing moves going on here as the pressure still being held to Jonathan Schwartz as Matt Frady is not letting him get away here.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about Matt much this season. Obviously was in the points championship battle at the end of last season, but Matt been solely inside the top 5 most races, but hasn't been in contention for a win yet this year. And we know he's one of the best at the short tracks as he's applying the pressure to Schwartz on his left rear. Is he going to be able to make the move? No, not yet. But with that 40 car, always good at these short tracks, these technical miles and under, where you have to use a lot of brake, rolling the throttle. You know, we have road course experts like Kyle Ritchie. I like that we can kind of throw Matt as a short track expert. And we see it every time that we go to one of these tracks. And he's definitely showing it tonight as he's not had the best season. Only 8th in points, 3 top 10s, and 1 top 5. But by the end of last season, by this point last season, he had quite a few top 5s. So kind of a down season for Matt.
Yeah, still looking his way to make himself into the playoffs. Should be good there. Unfortunately, I do not believe he will have a chance to fight for the regular season championship as there's just too much of a gap. And we see Kyle Ritchie and Randy Arms always solidly running in the top 3, top 5. So not going to be super, what's the word I was looking for? It's not going to be super hopeful on whether he'll try to contend for the regular season. But if he gets to the playoffs, definitely one to look out for. In terms of fighting for a championship.
Yeah, we see Nathaniel already working himself up in positions, but is not in the battle because he is 3 laps down. As he's going to make himself in the battle, though, between Lilith Peters, Mazzella, and Kevin Ritchie there, as he's gone. He is gone once again, so Nathaniel, mechanical problems, and we'll say he had motor trouble this week. Unfortunate for Nathaniel after showing such good speed. Maybe pulled a Darrell Waltrip, and the motor was so good, it's blown up. But not a good day there for Nathaniel.
Yeah, I think iRacing knew what I was about to say there. As you watch the one of Lilith Peters trying to make a move on the 51 of Kevin Ritchie. He's going to get in the wall. Contact there for Lilith Peters able to keep herself out of the back bumper. As Mazzella's going to try to look and see if he can use that lost momentum to his advantage. Lilith Peters, though, looks like she's going to be able to make the move and take the 6th position from Kevin Ritchie. She's going to get a little bit loose off the exit of the corner. They're going to go side by side into turn number 3.
Yeah, Kevin Ritchie at kind of these egg-shaped racetracks. We saw that at Darlington, and we're seeing it here at Gateway. And one of the best in the series with 2 wins, 3 top 5s, and 5 top 10s from Lilith, as she's barely able to clear Kevin. Kevin is 10th in points. And he's shown a lot of improvement from last season as well, with a lot of speed in that number 51. All right, Alex, if you were in Matt Frady's situation, we see that you're applying the pressure to Schwartz all race long. Where do you go? Do you try to experiment and maybe run a little bit higher up in 3 and 4, but you still have the pressure from Kyle? So what are you thinking if you're in Matt's situation here?
If I'm Matt, I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't try to challenge for the lead too much here. Try to save your stuff just a little bit. We're still, I think we're right in the middle of this run. So if I'm Matt, I try not to burn up your stuff too much. We saw how crucial it was to have just any advantage in tire because a lot of these guys were losing it and had very little control of their race cars towards the end of the run, right before the stage. So yeah, if I'm Matt, I try to conserve a little bit, but try not to let off the pressure too much. Don't let Schwartz run too far away, as we know is more than likely, hopefully. Don't want to jinx anything, but we could see some green flag stops. So if I'm Frady, try to stay close to Schwartz, but don't over push it.
Yeah, but it's going to be hard with him being in dirty air. He's going to be, less downforce. It's harder to conserve those tires with less air on that rear spoiler. And we're kind of seeing a little bit of a gap, and you don't want that gap to build because once we saw Nathaniel was comfortable, he was able to pull a big gap, and I think that's what we're starting to see from that 58 car again, is he's getting comfortable, starting to pull just a little bit. And once you get comfortable, you get into a rhythm. Once you're in a rhythm, got a lot of pace in it. So we'll see if Matt's able to shrink that just a little bit. It's a little bit further in the field. Battle between Falovich and Sample for P15. Falovich just finished up that car last night, loaded in the trailer, finished wrapping it, and is a new scheme from what we saw last week. But Sample was in that last in the caution when Casey spun, has the right front damage, so he is struggling with that right front damage, but not what he wanted because of the point situation that he is in. He's made up a good amount of spots, but gonna need a big night. He's sitting P29, so I think he's pretty much out of it, but able to compete the rest of the year and learn how a lot of these drivers race. Cavarici, Cochran all over the back bumper of that 44, that flamey 44. Well, I know he's having his fun there in front of Casey Brown, but you want to go ahead and talk to the man himself?
Yeah, let's go. Let's bring him in here. I want to have a word with the man and see what he did on that earlier caution.
All right, take it away there, Alex.
Mikey Adams, welcome to the booth, my man. You got a copy?
Hello?
Well, unfortunately, not having an amazing day. We saw you get involved in a bit of an incident earlier, down at 17th position. Talk me through your race, my man.
Gateway's not been good to us tonight, Alex. It's really not been good to us. What happened on that little incident was I was on new tires and I just gave her a little bit too much coming out of 2, and it just spun me on around. But now we're just dealing with old tires right now, just nursing her around, just trying to keep in the top 20 at least.
I was going to say, at least you got yourself a pretty decent chance of doing that. Had some trouble for a lot of other guys here. Hoping for at least the top 20 for you, as you're in a little bit of a battle with Casey Brown. While I got you in here, just as some little extra information for the broadcast, how many laps are you guys able to go on a fuel run?
47, 48.
God, oh yeah, so these guys are really going to be able to stretch it here. Yeah, I was going to say.
No, we thought at first the same thing, but sorry, I'm going to concentrate with this corner. We found out quickly it was 47, 48.
Okay. Well, Mikey, we saw the a similar race at Darlington, but was able to work yourself into the top 10 late in the running, and went from 15th to 10th in the last lap. You think that this car's got enough to do that this week, or what you thinking that wise?
Oh, any car's got a chance of doing that with me behind the wheel. I don't give a damn what it is. But where was you? You normally kick it off. You letting Alec take the reins? Oh shit! Let me shut up. Hold on.
Well, you're P15 of the points. You're gonna need a few good points today. What's your expectation heading into Bristol?
Oh, I'm excited for Bristol. I can't wait for it. I've already got it in my brain what I'm gonna do. Dude, I'm gonna fuck this up. Hold on. Sorry guys. Sorry. Hold on. Yeah. Bristol. Excited for it. Ready for it. Ready to put it on them. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Give me a second. Hold on.
All right, we're gonna let you get back to it, and you got your teammate behind you racing you, but we'll talk to you here later.
Hold on, Cabe.
Yeah.
I should have ate the chicken after.
Are your hands slippery? Mikey last week said he was going to eat the chicken at Darlington after the race, but this week he had it before. So I think that wheel's getting slippery.
After.
Yep. Wheel's getting slippery. All right. Good luck there, Mikey.
Thank you.
Yeah, big problems there for Mikey. Chicken wing sauce on the steering wheel as we got a battle here for 12th between Tiller and Jake. Flanagan just in front. A lot of battles on the racetrack. As we talk to Mikey there, gap's kind of open. 0.7 of a second there between Matt and Swartz. That dirty air has definitely come into effect now. and hurt Matt from being able to stay on the back bumper of Swartz.
Yeah, I was gonna say another thing while we were talking to Mikey. Now, so we know what the fuel run can be. Gonna be interesting to see what some guys decide to do, because are you gonna be the guy that we know the fuel won't be as much of an issue? Obviously, you're still gonna have to pit to make
You can
make it
pit
to
now
the
and
end.
make it.
But I was gonna say you can pit now and make it to the end of the race. But the bigger factor is gonna be tires. How are they gonna affect these guys? We know later in the run, it's super difficult to drive these cars. So we'll see how much advantage it'll play in if you decide to stay out an extra couple of laps, or if you're the one that pit early, how will it affect you on the last couple of laps. But if I'm these guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think pitting later is gonna be the strategy. Not too late to where you're not gonna let the tires work to their advantage, but just like right in the middle between when everybody pits and when it's too late. That's your sweet spot right there, and um, I'm hoping to see if somebody will try and see if my theory is correct here.
Yeah, and we kind of know the tendencies of a lot of the drivers on when they like to pit, and do they want tires for longer and pit a little bit earlier, or do they wait a while, see if they can get a caution, or use all of the tire as much as possible in that last 20 laps of the runs or so. But as we see the battle from Tiller going underneath Flanagan, Tiller's able to move Tiller into the side of the top 10. But we know Swartz like to stay out. Frady usually is never the first one to pit road. He likes to stay as well. Kyle Ritchie always is the one that seems to stay out the longest. And out of the top 5, Strader with the first race, we still don't know. He could pit right now to try something different, but Randy usually is one of the first ones to bite. So with these 3, the top 3 at least, they usually like to go off of somebody else, but if they go off of each other, they might all not pit and open up the door for somebody behind them.
Yeah, I have a feeling that a lot of those guys in the top 5, like especially Kyle Ritchie. Kyle Ritchie's the guy I'm eyeing to stay out longer. We've seen him do it before. Is Lil Peters going to come in and see if she makes
also
pit
Kevin
road
Ritchie.
speed? Kevin Ritchie right behind her, the 7th and 8th spot. Definitely going to be tires here. Might be a little bit early to where they'll have some trouble at the end of their run, but we'll see how it plays out. This could be the domino that falls for some of these guys, though, whether or not they'll actually follow along and pit, or if they're going to wait a little bit extra. Like I was saying, I think Kyle Ritchie's going to be the one guy who's going to wait longer. We've seen him do it before and play out to advantage, as we got another guy pitting, the 31 of Christian Schrader, I believe that is, coming down pit lane.
Yeah, good pit road entry there for Strader. On pit road, nice and clean. That was perfect for him. Pit road speed all the way down to 45 miles an hour, and one of the thinnest pit roads. So these drivers are going to have to be easy coming in and out. Let's ride on board with him as he goes for his pit stop. Good stop there in the box. Right sides go up. So all these drivers are able to make it on fuel. Even with multiple green-white checkers, that's not a worry. The biggest worry is tires. When do you pit? Like we've been mentioning, nobody pitted that time, it seemed like. Davis. Cochran's been on pit road, but Strader still there. Now let's see. Let's see where Peters came out. 15th. First one a lap down, or will be, when she passes Strader there. So we saw the gap. Lilith pitted behind Strader and came out about a second now. So Randy's going to come to pit road. I think we're going to start to see it now. I think before 30 to go, everybody's got to come. I don't think that you can wait. Maybe Swartz waits the longest because he has that little bit of a gap. And the new tires are probably going to help you half a second to a second a lot better on tires. But if you wait too long, then Lilith and everybody else is going to be gaining a ton. So we'll see who's going to be the next cars to bite.
Yeah, going to be really interesting to see who comes in next. Obviously, watching Randy Arms down in pit lane. It's your leader, Jonathan Schwartz. He's going to make the right hand, or the left hand turn, on to pit lane. Got to get your speed right at 45 miles an hour, like Cabe said. Don't want to speed one of the narrowest pit roads in racing. No black flags for anybody that I can spot. So far, so good for everybody. going into pit lane. We'll see if his competitors in the top 5 are going to chase after him and join him on pit lane after. As we see Randy Arms come out of pit lane, he's going to have a pretty decent margin from Lilith Peters. Matt Frady and Kyle Ritchie are going to come in next.
Ooh, Matt a little deep. Kyle did the same thing, a little bit deep there. Is that sharp corner? So, this is the battle for the lead. We'll see how good of a stop Matt and Ritchie have compared to Lilith Peters and Randy Arms. There's Swartz. So, Swartz just got passed. So, Swartz is going to lose the lead. It's going to be probably at least a second or two behind Randy now. Randy was perfect on pit road or something because he gained a ton of time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I watched him show a big gap here. As here we go, your second and third place cars in pit lane. We'll see where they end up. More than likely, if Schwartz is going to fall back, they will more than likely be a little bit farther behind as well. But remember, the tire differential seems to be pretty high, so it's not surprising that Lilith Peters is a little bit ahead, as Matt Frady is going to come out in front of Kyle Ritchie. Order will stay the same. Let's see where they end up. Lilith Peters almost on the exit of 2. Going to have a massive gap to these 2.
So, pit strategy. We've seen it a lot this season, actually. Pit strategy has really hurt Frady and Ritchie. So, Kyle Ritchie and Matt Frady both have been hurt a lot this season by pit strategy, and it looks like it's going to bite them again unless we get a late race caution. But your leader, when it cycles out, is going to be Randy Arms, Lilith Peters, then going to be Strader, and then Swartz, then Kyle and Matt. So, Matt Frady is entering turn 1 now. Randy is on exit of 2. So about a whole corner of time lost, which is, I mean, it's what, about a 5-6 seconds gap?
I believe so, but like I said, like I'm saying before, it just shows just how big of a how big of a difference those tires are going to make, and what the differential is between if you're going to pit a little later and pit earlier. But remember, still 28 laps to go. Will those tires for the guys who pit later be helpful towards the end of the run and let them have a bigger advantage over the guys who pit a little bit earlier? Gonna be interesting. Gonna have to keep an eye on it. Like you mentioned before, Randy Arms, your new de facto leader, as it relates to having himself a really good pit stop. But will him pitting a little bit earlier come back to bite him for some of the cars behind him, like Matt Frady and Kyle Ritchie, who pit just a little bit later?
And this would be big. We see Greg Elliott staying out on the racetrack. We know that these drivers can wait just a little bit longer. But same thing with Casey Brown. He's got the damage on the front end, but he's 7 seconds ahead of Randy and 11 seconds back of Greg Elliott. So if Greg Elliott, right now he's hoping to run at least 5 more laps and get a caution. Then that puts Randy Arms, Peters, Swartz, Strader in a big predicament as we got the battle for, that's 5th on the racetrack, 3rd after pit stops. A big sideways moment there for Swartz, but Greg Elliott, if he's able to go another 3 or 4 laps, then get a caution, that messes up everybody. He's able to come down pit road, get tires, and then it's a judgment call. Do you take tires if you're in Frady or Arms or Peters, Swartz? If you're one of them, do you come down pit road and take tires then?
I mean, if I'm a lot of these guys, they more than likely have the extra set. At that point, it's not really, I don't really know if it's much of a debate. If you have the fresher tires, like I said, you see just how much even a couple of laps can make a difference. I was watching on the onboards between Greg Elliott and Randy Arms before. Randy Arms is able to carry a lot more speed with those fresher tires. So I do think everybody will pit again, especially because if we get another caution, these guys are going to have at least about 10 laps run on these tires so far. So I think they're going to want to kick them off and get some new, fresh Goodyears if we do get a caution. That would work out great for Greg Elliott. Like I said, I think everybody else behind him would pit. But if the caution does not come out, he will end up falling back probably towards the back end of the top 15 once his pit cycle finishes out.
Well, speaking of new tires, we saw Jonathan Swartz pitted after Randy. Randy was one of the first ones to pit. As you're looking on the left side of your screen in that green box, that time has slowly shrunk down for Swartz. Now, you can't really wait. He's got a 0.2 a lap or a corner better He's going to have a run down the front straightaway. Does he go for the pass now, or does he wait a little bit longer? I don't think that you can wait for those tires, because if once it evens out on those tires and you get heat in those tires, same thing with Randy, especially if you make a mistake, slip the tires like we've seen a lot of tonight. That could hurt them, and then good luck passing. But he's going to have a look into 3. He's stalking his prey right now here, Alex.
Yeah, I was going to say, kind of surprised. He's going to make a little bit of a lunge. Doesn't get as much of a run, but Randy Arms a little bit loose there on the exit of 4. Schwartz going to look on the inside. Look to see if he just throws it in there, and maybe a little bit of a slide job in the middle of the corners. No, Randy Arms going to keep it towards the middle of the track. Loses a little bit of speed. Schwartz is going to make the lunge. See if Randy Arms can get a good enough run to stay with Schwartz. No, just barely going to be clear here going into 3, but Schwartz more than likely going to have the position when it's all said and done. But oh, is Randy Arms going to go 3 wide with Casey Brown? They caught up to him, but it's going to not help Randy Arms very much as he gets a little bit loose on the exit there. Schwartz going to take that second position now. Just going to have to chase down Greg Elliott, who does still have to pit for fuel and tires. So right now your de facto leader when it's all said and done will be Jonathan Schwartz. I believe, like I said, I think he was the first guy to pit on all of these, so surprised to see him have so much pace, even with those guys behind him having a couple laps fresh tires.
Yeah, and Greg Elliott right now really not losing too much time to Schwartz, but I'm not expecting him to be able to run many laps more. He's definitely going to have to, but we saw Randy try to fight it and just didn't have the rear grip to fight it around the outside of Schwartz, but did as much as he could. Now we'll see if he's going for a good points day, especially with Kyle Ritchie so far behind. That'll be a big point swing for that regular season championship.
Yeah, like you said before, we have one more round until we get to the playoffs. Bristol, both a really good track for the top 2 in the championship. Kyle Ritchie arguably one of his best tracks from my own personal experience watching him. Same with Randy Arms as well. One of the guys, we've talked about this before multiple times, that Randy is one of those vets who is good at saving the car and keeping it alive throughout a run, especially at a track like Bristol, as we watched the 88 of Casey Brown make his more than likely final pit stop of the day. There's a little bit of a battle going on here between the 5th place car of Lilith Peters and the 40 of Matt Frey right behind her. We'll see how he decides to play this, if he's going to try to make a really aggressive move or if he's just going to stay behind and maybe wait till a couple more laps tick down. But no, it looks like he's going to make the lunge on the inside, try to keep as much momentum and get a good run. Not going to have it as Lilith Peters, I believe she taps the wall there on the exit of 4, but Matt Frady trying to make his move here. He's going to lunge on the inside of 1, try to keep the momentum up and get the exit off of 2 to take the position.
And he does able to clear, so move Frady into the top 5. A good run for him. But now, Randy Arms is under pressure from Strader.
Yeah, like I said, new face in the league. One of the guys to pit a little bit later, if I remember correctly. I believe later than Randy. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see if he can make the move, as I believe there's the 38 of Greg Elliott in pit lane right now. Jonathan Schwartz, your new leader with Randy Arms, with the pressure from Christian Strader. Going to make the move and see if he can keep the momentum up on the exit of 2 to clear him. He should have the position.
Going to be side by side, though. Randy able to get that run back on the high side. As we go into 3, we've seen the top be better, it seems like, in 3 and 4 than 1 and 2. So Randy doing all he can to try to save those points, especially as he was one of the earlier pit stops. But he's trying to hold up as many cars as he can to keep those spots in between, keep the cars in between him and Kyle. Because like you mentioned before, Kyle really good at Bristol, but Randy's also going for it. But here goes Matt Frady looking to the inside, 3 wide for second into turn number 3. What a race Gateway's putting on here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's always when the sun sets is when the new conditions set in, and these guys gotta basically relearn. It's almost a completely different track feel once the track gets cooler. So yeah, definitely starting to put on a little bit of a show from these guys. From this is the battle, basically the battle for second here is right now. Randy or Kyle Ritchie starting to make his way up, trying to make a move on Lewis Peters. Got it, like I said, close championship battle for the regular season, so he needs to make up as many spots as he can. Especially watching Randy, it looks like he's struggling a little bit on the tires. They're just trying to plead for his life and keep the spot, as he's still going to remain side by side with Matt Frey. Like you said, had the 3 wide move before, almost made it work, as he's almost going to get the lead. But we'll see what Schrader does if he's going to try to make a 3 wide move going into 1.
Doesn't look like it. Didn't try to pull the mat as Randy's a... Whoa, what a save from Randy Arms. Almost backed her in a fence, but with a big save.
Yeah, not what he wanted to see. Like we mentioned before, we said it all night. It is such a close championship battle. Every single point matters. You don't want to see this. Oh, an unfortunate mistake there. Yeah, just I think he almost just locks the rears up there, and once you do that, the car just steps out. Great save by him to at least keep it out of the wall and keep it straight. But now he's got to do some extra fighting, as we see here. Lil Peters going to try to pass the 76 to Kyle Ritchie. Definitely a great sight for him in his rear mirror to see his championship contender fall back a couple of spots, as Kyle's going to ride the outside lane, trying to get himself a run to maybe size up Christian Schrader to get himself a couple extra points over Randy Arms.
Yeah, I think that really hurt Randy. We saw he was already on the older tires. As Lilith's going to drive her on in there. Kyle tried to throw the block. Kind of scared Lilith to make sure that she didn't drive it or overdrive the corner and wash up into him. She had to check up a little bit, but as I was saying about Randy, that slide really hurt him. He was already down on the tires, and then with that slide put even more heat and wear into those rear tires. So I don't think that he's going to have an opportunity in this last 12 if it runs green. Obviously, we still have an opportunity for the caution and pit stops, but I think that really hurt Randy there, and it's going to be another point swing. As they were 2 points heading into it, it'll be another swing for Kyle to gain a few spots.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, once the pit stops were starting to happen, even a couple of laps make a difference. We've seen it between a lot of different races this season that, like I said, a couple of laps, all it takes for just a little bit of extra tire that you can have, and that's all you need. If you have 3, 4 fresher lap tires and another guy, you're gonna have a little bit of an edge to make a move and maybe get a little bit more of a good exit off of a corner, and that could be a race-winning move right there for some of these guys who pit a little bit later and have the fresher tires.
Yeah, and we're watching Swartz right here, one of the kind of mid guys that pitted. Wasn't early, but wasn't late, and then come out and blew by everybody. Really had that speed in that car. We saw him take the lead, about halfway during the race when Nathaniel Langware had his problems, but now here comes Jonathan, took the lead, and got the clean air and really had some pressure from Matt, but Matt wasn't able to do anything with it. Then Matt just struggled in that clean air, or that dirty air, hurt the tires, and Jonathan has been able to pull away ever since, as he's now behind Landon Quisenberry there. So he's in a little bit of dirty air, which could come into play here. Oh, the 2.5 second gap. Swartz could run pretty conservative here and see if he can just bring her home. Still a battle, as that's Elliott in the wall. Greg Elliott. 2-lap status. We got a caution. Caution, that's Michael Cochran on the front straightaway. No for that 42, and backs her in the wall. Oh, motor blew. That was just all bad. That was like a comic right there, as it was a battle between him and Dylan Falovich. As Dylan hooks him down the straightaway, looking like Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski back in 2009 or 11, whatever that year was. And then Michael Hardley inside wall. Spins her back around. Backs her in. And the motor goes kaplooey.
Yeah, unfortunately there, it looked like they almost just kind of came together off the exit of 4. Looks like Dylan Falovich came up just a little bit more than the 42 of Michael Cochran, but yeah, Gonna be very interesting to see how this
Here we
plays out.
go.
Obviously, whole field's gonna come down pit road. We're gonna see these guys take tires. Fuel is a non-factor, but tires are the name of the game. We'll see if somebody can beat Jonathan Schwartz for the race off of pit road, as almost the entire field, bar the people a lap down, come barreling down pit road.
Yeah, whole field on pit road, other than some wave arounds. But here's your opportunity. Pit road. Can you beat Schwartz off pit road? Then whoever does come out second, can they have a good restart to stay side by side with him? We've seen him not that great on the short run, but this is a big help for Randy Arms, especially with that point situation that we keep mentioning with Kyle. After hurting those tires and struggling, big points and or chance here for Randy. As Lilith comes off of pit road, she takes 2 tires. Same thing with Strader. They're both going to come out in front. Same thing with Frady. We got some pit strategy here, boys.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say it as everybody started to pit. I totally forgot about it. Was anybody going to take 2? That was definitely going to be a consideration, especially for some of the guys that even pit later. Were they going to be able to make 2 tires work? I wasn't sure how it was going to be. I don't know how it's going to drive, but oh man, I'm going to be honest though. Even with it's probably going to be, I think, 5 to go once we get back green here. I think I still want those 4 fresh tires. I mean, that could prove me wrong. Lilith Peterson can prove me wrong, and she can go out and use those 2 tires, and it'll be just as good as us having 4 fresh ones. But we'll see here. A couple of either these are some lap cars in front. Yeah, so it should be Lilith Peters. Oh no.
It's going to be Matt Frady, Strader, then Peters. They both took 2 and was able to come out in front. So Matt, with the best opportunity he's had all night, we saw it. Wasn't the best on the restart, starting second. But this is going to be big for Frady. We'll see where he chooses. Chooses that outside line. Lilith. So, look at what just happened. Oh, and Schwartz goes to the outside. So, Schwartz is going to technically be restarting 6th. So, that is a big help for Matt. Matt has got an opportunity here. A big one. Because with Kyle on the bottom on new tires, Schwartz 3rd row outside, those are the next 2 on tires. But with Matt on the 2, he has the fence with Lilith and Strader. If he's able to clear and, those 3 don't get into it, he has an opportunity here, a big one, to try to pull away, have a gap, and see if he's able to hold off Schwartz or Kyle or Randy if they're able to get by Lilith and Strader. But we're coming back to the line. Pace car lights are out. It's going to be a 5-lap shootout at Gateway to finish it off. 2 tires, verse 4. Pit strategy has come into play here at Gateway. In the restart zone, Frady and Strader. As we got 1 around, Matt fires and caution back out. That's going to help the 2 tires as well. That is big. What happened there?
Looks like, I think, someone in the back of the field,
Greg Elliott.
Let's see, actually, yeah, let's watch here. Greg Elliott running up front earlier, but had to pit, kind of lost all that track position. He didn't know where the field was, and I think he kind of
tried to stay off the
overreacted
sample.
and tried to stay off of the 24 sample there and just kind of lost it. And unfortunate there. So I'm not sure if that was an automatic thrown caution or if that was from
I think that was
from race
automatic.
control, but kind of surprised considering it's only a single car and he could have made it out of there. But yeah, going to be very interesting to see what everybody does now. I don't think anybody else is going to come down pit road. I think if you're on the strategy you're committed to it, whether you're 2 or 4. But you're right, definitely going to help the 2 tire guys because it's more than likely either going to be I think it's going to be a 2-lap shootout. I don't know if we're going to end up going all the way to overtime, but we may somehow get a natural green-white checkered here with around 4 laps to go. Unfortunate caution there to come out, but will help some of these guys out for the hopefully last restart of the race.
Well, we saw there, the inside went a little bit better than what we thought. And because Kyle picked the inside to start 2nd row and Schwartz picked the outside and started 3rd, Schwartz moved back to 5th. So that's going to hurt him now. And for the choose especially. I mean, pace car lights are not out this time. We're not going to choose this time. But that is something to look out for on the choose, Alex. What do you think if you're Schwartz or Kyle in this situation now?
I mean, if I'm gonna be honest with you, if I'm Kyle, I think I take the inside here, considering he's got a little bit more of an advantage on those 4 tires, so he might be able to sneak a move in. But I think it also depends on where Strader goes. If he can get as close to the front as possible, he'll be fourth no matter what. Maybe third, depending on where he goes. But if I'm either one of those two guys, I try to get as close as possible. Um, and pick the shorter line, because if you can be closer to the lead, you're going to have a little bit more of an advantage because you have the fresher tires. You have the other side of tires that are actually fresh as compared to some of these guys who are around 25 laps, 20 laps of tires already being used. So, yeah, if I mean, I think it's all really depending on where everybody else goes, but I think I like the outside a little bit more because you can kind of hang it around there and try to get a good exit and might be able to use that run to your advantage. So if I'm Matt Freddy, I do think he will pick the outside here. Strader more than likely taking the inside. Lilith Peters is going to be a wild card, whether she takes the outside or the inside. Same thing for fourth and fifth of Kyle Ritchie and Jonathan Schwartz. Coming to the choose. Pace car lights are off, so we will get a green and white checkered finish for the end of the Mo Nuts 110. Race 7 here at Gateway is Matt Frady, Lilith Peters, Jonathan Schwartz taking the outside with Kyle Ritchie, Christian Strader, and Randy Arms taking the inside line. Very interesting to see them take that there. Oh, man, actually, if I'm
It's
Kyle,
the
I
same
think
way
he's
it
in
was.
yeah, he's in a. I think if I'm Kyle, I think I'm in a great spot. He's able to maybe get a good run off the exit of 2, and maybe he can try to make a move on the 31 and the 40 here, so long as he can hold off Schwartz. Randy Arms right behind him, and Lilith Peters, another driver to look out for as we come to 2 to go for the first attempt at a green-white checkered finish here at Gateway.
Yeah. Same way it was before the caution. But pace car lights are out once again here at Gateway. It's going to be a green, white, checkered. 2 tires versus 4. Can Frady hold him off for his first win of the season? We are back green at Gateway. Great restart there for Frady. Able to clear. Big pushes there from the third row. Kyle's looking to the inside. Kyle and Schwartz on the 4 tires, but still not able to clear quickly. He's got an opportunity, though. To the inside, a little bit of door banging. Still 3 wide, though, for second. Kyle all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Strader's going to get eaten alive, but Lilith able to hold around the outside line. Schwartz is now trying to fight it as we're coming to white flag for Matt Frady. White flag in the air. Next battle is for third. That's between the 2 cars on new tires as Schwartz is going to go around in front of the field. Big contact. No caution since we're on the white as there's more contact. Battle for second. All race long was putting the pressure on the leaders. But now, after a pit call, Matt Frady is going to come off in turn number 4. And he's going to win the Mo Nuts 110 here at Gateway. Matt Frady, all season long, has been unlucky with the pit calls, but tonight got lucky with a caution, took 2, and was able to hold off the field and come away with the win.
Yeah, teammate 1-2 there by Kyle Ritchie and Matt Frady. They're a great result for the 2 of them. Going to be great as Randy Arms, like you said, finishing 4th. Important for the championship battle, the regular season championship battle as we go into Bristol next week. Matt Frady, like you said before, unfortunate luck throughout the season with some pit calls, but gets his redemption tonight at Gateway.
As we're seeing the rundown of the field, Mikey Adams finished 11th, Jake 12th, Dylan, Jeremy, Kevin, Schwartz, unfortunate there, and 15th. And around off the field, Michael Davis, Nathaniel after the motor problems, we'll say, and Wyatt Garrett to round them off. But Matt Frady's going to do the burnouts on pit or on the front straightaway. Let's go ahead and drag him in here.
Hello?
Matt Frady, you got a copy, my man?
Yes, sir, I do.
Oh, well, a late pit call. We saw you be one of the few guys to take 2 tires at the end there. Played out perfectly for you. What was the thought process behind that, and what made you take that call at the end there?
Just looking at tire percentages, and you know, I was really nervous about it because we were already loose as it was. Um, so I just, you know, just remembered back in, I believe it was Dover when Lilith took the 2, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it, whatever. Went with it.
Yeah, well, we saw it worked out perfectly for you at the end of the day, taking, I believe this was your first win of the season, not having, like I said before, not having some great luck throughout the season. Unfortunately, not in it for the regular season championship battle, but good points boost for you tonight to be able to have a good start before we start the playoffs next week. Obviously, heading into Bristol next week, one of the toughest tracks on the schedule. How are we feeling going into that next week?
50-50. Um, I don't, Bristol's either really good to me or really bad to me. Um, Sometimes I can find the marks that I need and find out how to drive how to drive the track that day, and I'll do really good. And sometimes I am just out in left field trying to search for it. So
Well,
I guess we'll have to see what happens.
yeah, we're looking forward to that. Another short track for you. We mentioned middle part of this race, you're kind of the short track expert. You know, Kyle Ritchie's one of the best on the road course and a road course expertise, but you're like the short track guy. Tell us what your expectations was heading into Gateway. Obviously, the update and changed it up a lot after quite a few practice laps you ended up running, but with the update, changed a lot. What did you think about the racetrack and the update tonight?
Um, Honestly, I couldn't tell you anything about the update because I never ran laps on it before. It was
I thought you
brand.
did test.
It was no. um, I like the first stage. I was driving it, and I knew we had plenty of fuel, so I wanted to drive it hard, just to kind of see what would happen on obviously a longer run. Um, and so I kind of knew I was going to fall back a little bit, and kind of learned a little bit from there. And then I think it was halfway through, after we pitted and everything, and I was behind Schwartz, and he pulled a little bit of a lead. I found a line that was actually working for me, and he had pulled out to like a second lead, and I think I brought it back down to about a half a second right when he pitted. Um, so right when I did that, and I, told my teammate Jake about it, um, he started using it, and because he was struggling all day. That helped him out tremendously, and it helped me out, and I think that's what helped me, run through everybody. I want to apologize to Randy and I don't remember the name of the other gentleman that I stuck it. I think it was Christian, possibly. 3 wide on the back stretch, but I was like, dude, I got new tires. I gotta go. I seen the gap that Schwartz was picking up, so I was like, I gotta go. It's time. I'm sorry, I don't want to do this, but I gotta do it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we saw a lot of aggressive moves tonight, but does this win make up for all the missed unlucky pit calls from this season, or do you think you're still owed a few more?
Oh, a few more. Never enough.
Well, congratulations. Go ahead and give your shout outs and whoever you'd like to thank.
Randy for putting the league on. You guys for broadcasting it. My son, Kyle for letting me use his chat lobby. My teammate Jake, Kale for the paint schemes. Cabe for your help whenever you do it. Whenever I got questions. My son, can't remember if I said him.
Yes.
Well, then he gets
Liam
twice.
got 2 leagues. Shout outs.
Yeah, Liam gets 2 shout outs. Again, Jake, his kid if he's watching. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the win. First win of the season for you, and we'll see you next week there at Bristol.
Thanks, sir.
Matt Frady there got the win, and was a big one for him. I think that's a big confidence booster, especially for him. I know he was kind of questioning himself a lot in the last few races after not having the best finishes. But coming home P2, it's going to be Kyle Ritchie. Was it Kyle? Or was it Lil?
Yes.
Okay, it was Kyle. Let's make sure. All right, here you go.
Kyle Ritchie, you got a copy, my man?
Hello.
Welcome back to the booth. Having yourself a solid night tonight, being one of the few guys to take the gamble to take 4 tires at the end there. Coming home P2, solid points side, obviously, like I mentioned, in a tight championship battle with league owner Randy Arms. It's 2 points before the green flag drop today. Going to gain a little bit more of an advantage going into Bristol, but tell us about your race and how'd you pull it off at the end there?
Yeah,
I didn't know how two tires would drive, and I was very very uncomfortable going into one all night. So we stayed away from the two tire ordeal. We just stayed clean tonight. I think we ran up top 5 almost all night, so we needed that. Good point stay is all we needed. I'm not good at gateway, so top 3 is a win for me.
Yeah, well, like I said, tricky all night, especially when the sun came out, and as soon as we saw the sun start setting, it was going to be another tricky situation to figure out. Obviously, cooler temps can lead to some different conditions and different ways of driving. We saw a couple of lines starting to form there. Tell us about the lines that you guys were able to use, and just kind of going around the track as the night progressed.
Yeah, I honestly I ran like 5,000 different lines and none of them worked. I tried to follow Nate at first, and I gave up with that about 2 laps in because I almost busted my ass going into one. And then I tried doing something Schwartz did, and then he fell off and came back. And then I tried something Randy did, and nothing worked for me. So I had no idea what I was doing all night. I was just winging it.
Hey, well, you gained last week the points lead. You got it by 2 points. Now this week you extended your points points lead on Randy Arms. Going to Bristol, the season finale, regular season finale, gonna have a little bit more of a buffer. But what do you think heading into Bristol? One of your better tracks, but with it should be about 6 or 7 point lead, I think, ahead of Randy.
Yeah,
What do
I
you think?
I was hoping that I was glad that caution came out because on one hand Randy was going to win the race, so that would have probably put him in the points lead. Thankfully that didn't happen, so I think I'm the point. I should be the points leader still
Yes, you
by a
are.
few. But we're going into Bristol, and Randy was fast there last time. But if I can get the top rolling like I did last time, I feel like I'll be okay. But ever since the rescan, I've been horrible at Bristol, so I have to figure that place out.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you at Bristol, seeing what you're able to do, and able to come home second tonight. So congratulations with that. Go ahead, give your shout outs and who you'd like to thank.
Yeah, I just want to shout out you guys for broadcasting every week, and Randy and Tiller and James for adminning every week, and everyone that shows up on a weekly basis. League wouldn't be what it is without everyone that constantly supports us and supports your stream and stuff. So yeah,
Definitely, and it was you guys definitely put on a show, and we appreciate it for making it fun up here for me and Alex in the booth because a lot of
try
the
our
races
best.
we're a little worried about it and trying to figure out how to make it entertaining, but you guys always put on a show, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything you do.
Yes, sir. Kyle Ritchie coming on P2. And in third, kind of out of nowhere, really was a lap down, a big comeback, and finishes inside the top 3 after being a lap down early in this one. Let's go ahead and talk to her, Lilith Peters.
Lilith Peters, welcome to the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
All right.
All right. Well, we saw you quite early, obviously starting towards the back end of the field at 19th. We saw you pit, I believe, on lap 2, able to make a great comeback up to P3. You had a chance to fight for the win there at the end, falling a little bit short, unfortunately. But talk us through your race. How'd you manage to make yourself a great comeback there?
Well, I had to join the session with like 3 seconds left, so I got no practice for this. And then I got a passing under yellow, so that's why I had to pit.
Got it. Okay.
After I got the stage done, I think I figured it out.
So,
I wasn't really quick enough to win, so I was trying to strategy it, and it kind of worked out, I guess.
Yeah, we saw, like I said, we just talked about it with Kyle. We saw a lot of different lines being taken on today, especially as the sun started setting. We knew tires are going to be very important. We saw your call with taking 2 at the end there. What was the thought process behind that, and why did you take 2 tires?
Track position good.
we definitely saw
And
that.
left sides don't really wear.
Yeah, that's what Matt was talking about. He looked at tire wear and really didn't see much with the left sides being worn, and we're shocked, one, that it worked as well as it did, and 2, that not more people tried it. You know, a lot of tracks, 2 tires is kind of a death sentence, but I guess on a green white checkered it worked out good for you. But a good run for you, a good another boost for you in points. You might be able to get third here heading into Bristol, but go ahead and talk to us about Bristol and what your expectations are heading into the regular season finale and the new paint scheme tonight, because I like it.
Yeah, I crammed this paint scheme in up till 4:30 in the morning because I didn't want to run some trading paint one again. So thanks for that.
Well, I like it. Actually, it looks good with the waves. And is that what you were going
Yeah,
for
they
with the
changed
waves?
Bristol too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going for a wave.
I like it. Well, go ahead with Bristol.
Yeah, anyway, I like Bristol, but I haven't tried it in this car yet with the new one that they did, so hopefully it's good.
Yeah, new update, new scan. Obviously, Gateway is newly scanned, so that was pretty good race for Gateway and the new scan. So hopefully we have a good one next week for the regular season finale. But Lilith, go ahead and give your shout outs and who do you like to thank?
Thanks for broadcasting, you guys. I'm actually enjoy watching it back usually, compared to most of them.
Usually, okay.
And thanks to my teammates Jeremy and Christian, and Brian, of course.
Yeah, we appreciate that a ton, and glad that you enjoy going back and watching them, and everybody for running it and giving us something to talk about tonight with being a lap down. So we appreciate it, and we'll be seeing you next week there at Bristol.
Good night.
Good night. Well, Alex, Gateway, kind of not a track that you expect such a good show. I know it's one of those tracks where you think it could be one lane, but tonight, after the update, it seemed to be two. A lot of drivers could kind of move around, whether that be the Xfinity car or the racetrack. A lot of entertainment tonight.
Yeah, definitely a lot of positives taken out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, obviously, I have yet to drive it myself. I don't know actually how it is. These guys could have been struggling all night and hated it, but for the most part, for at least for us, put on a great show. Shouldn't say it was super surprising for Gateway because it can put up a good show from time to time, but yeah, good racing by a lot of these guys here tonight, and hell of a finish at the end there for the green white checkered. Yeah, a lot of movement. Saw a lot of great battles throughout the field. A pretty mixed up top 10 at the years. Hold on. I do just want to point this out. Mikey Adams finished 11th tonight.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point that out.
Can we go back? Before we end it, I do want to go back and actually look at the final lap because there was a few incidents that I want to give light to because I know a few things did happen. So I'm not going to be able to find it. Never mind. It's not going to work, really. Hold on. My camera stuff. So we saw Swartz, actually. He got loose. I don't know if there was contact. No. I think he just himself got into the corner deep, similar to what we saw from Casey early. And then nowhere for straighter to go, but able to keep running. And then on exit, well, that's a 2 to get. Oh, Flanagan also on the wall hard. Then Dylan and Jake, watch out! Great move by Jake, able to avoid it. Let's go right on board with him. This is kind of just the fun parts of the stream. So we did the interviews. We're gonna have some fun now. Look at Jake right here. Sees it, starts to go up the racetrack. Then they hook back up. Jake was able to, a little bit of contact, but able to keep her going, which impressive for Jake. Great job there, Jake. And then a little bit further up the field, I think there was something else. Because where's Mikey then? Mikey's right now. Where's the damn position thing? Because it's all jacked up. I don't know. I can't tell because of the overlay. He's somewhere in front of Jake here. What happens? Something happens right here, I thought. Maybe not. Maybe that was the finish.
No,
that was the finish.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was honestly, it was
It was over here. Something happened.
The second or the first lap going back on the restart was kind of where the chaos started, and it just kind of transferred over to the beginning of the last lap there, with just some people getting taken out. Former teammates.
I mean, we talked about it. He passed Swartz. We talked about it. At Darlington, same thing happened. He passed Swartz. Flanagan got in the wall. There goes Dylan and Kevin. He passes Jake. So Mikey did the same thing he did at Darlington and comes away with 11th.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, somehow it does it. We talked about it before during his interview that you never know. It always happens.
What
it's
a
nice
legend!
To see that he'll, it's nice to see that he can make himself a nice comeback towards the end there. So maybe he'll celebrate with a little bit more chicken tonight, or maybe he'll celebrate by cleaning his wheel, because I don't know if I'd want to touch that if I were anybody else with that some chicken greasy fingers there. But yeah, great wreck avoidance there at the end there. Honestly, smart of him to just stay towards the bottom through it all, and Yeah, worked out quite well for him at the end there, and yeah, almost the top 10, close. Maybe we'll see him next week at Bristol. That's gonna be a fun one to watch him at. But solid recovery there at the end there for our fan favorite Mikey Adams.
Yeah, Mikey did a great job there working his way through the field. But yeah, Alex headed to Bristol. I'm hoping to be there. We're gonna try to figure something out. I'm gonna get with you this week because I want to stream it because it being the last race. But it's Bristol, 150 laps, but it's on my birthday, so I'm gonna miss it, and we'll figure something out. But then an off week, then the playoffs start. So Bristol, what do you think about Bristol? Obviously updated, like a few drivers have mentioned, but a short track to end off the regular season. Can't ask for much more.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's going to be a really tight battle there. We know the points battle is going to be really tight between the top two. I don't know. We'll see how it is once the point standings come out here in a little while to see who's going to be in contention next week. But it will more than likely be between the 76 Cal Ritchie and the 8 of Randy Arms. Those two have gone back and forth a lot this year. It's going to come down to the last race. It could come down to a last couple of laps and some strategy. I mean, it's Bristol. You never know what's going to happen. It's one of the toughest tracks on the schedule to figure out, and yeah, I think we're gonna have a good one there. Probably gonna have a really good turnout as well too, even on some of the less popular tracks. Getting almost 25 cars in the field tonight, but Bristol is always one of those tracks you never know what to expect. So yeah, who knows? We could get a surprise winner. We could see a surprise podium. We could see the first two wreck out on the first lap for the championship, and that'd be it. But yeah, gonna be an interesting one to go to Bristol next week.
Yeah, excited to go there, and we'll figure out something. There will be a stream. I will do the best I can to get one, but yeah, ending off the stream. We appreciate everybody for watching. Be on the lookout for maybe some new stuff on Thursday nights. Trying to maybe see about another deal. We'll see how that goes, but yeah. Anyway, everybody, we will see you guys next week at Bristol for the regular season finale. I'm Ken McClinney with my co-host Alex Chira. And sorry, I looked over at your Discord and didn't see it. I messed that one up.
You got it right.
I know, but I looked over just to make sure I was saying it right. And then I was like, oh crap. Let me redo that so I can do it for the video. Hold on. Crap, how did I start it? Whatever. All right. Hold on. We will see you guys next week at Bristol for the regular season finale. I'm Kay McClinney, my co-host Alex Chira in the booth with me. Great night at Gateway, and we'll see you guys next week. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Thank you, everybody who ever watched the stream. We appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.